I'm Lynn, and here's what's happening at Ewetopia Farms today. We're going to win the lottery, and we're going to be able to keep you all. If it rains, they want to come in.
Had a fantastic rain 2 hours ago.
Let's get started. And this morning we have Tommy greeting us at the door. He's really taking charge around here these days. Hi, Tommy. And there's Scotty over there. He's wanting to come over here, but he's the sentry at the door. Aw, Scotty, you're hungry. I'm gonna get you both fed. And here's one of our ravens greeting us. It's gonna be a rain day today, so we're probably going to be vaccinating the sheep. Mom was just nursing these two big boys. This girl right here. Those are her two lambs. You guys look too big for nursing. Poor mama. Poor mommy. These guys are going to get weaned shortly, actually. That's another thing on the schedule. And this second group of Suffolks, these are the ewe lambs here. I just did their salt and mineral and their drinkers, and they all followed me back to the gate. And I don't know why. But this is my friendly group. They all want to be keepers. You guys are all going to be keepers. We're going to win the lottery, and we're going to be able to keep you all. Yes, don't worry. We'll work something out. My goodness. They're a beautiful bunch in here. But I don't know, like usually it's the rams that do this, but in this group, it's like everybody's a friendly female. You are lovely. So nice. Hi. Hi. Aren't you gorgeous? Aren't you? Oh. Hi. This is my girl with no tail. Her mom chewed it off. Yeah, some people would say your tail's the best docked one. Silly girls. They make, selling sheep very difficult. The rain has just started. The lambs are going to run in. And if you look to the pasture, you'll see the ewes. Here they all are heading in. Our sheep, like I say, I don't make it up. If it rains, they want to come in. And you'd think in this heat, the cool rain on them would make them feel so good. You just aren't interested in rain. It's like, why would anyone want that, right? Why? I think that's it. They're all in. Oh, no, here comes a straggler. There, now we're all in. We really, really, really needed this rain. Wouldn't you guys like to be outside? Well, actually the rain just stopped. I was going to go have a look at it. Doesn't it look nice, you guys? Might make you feel better. Then people will stop saying that you're dirty. You can have a bath. Good shower would help. Definitely fair weather sheep. So today we're back to vaccinating sheep. Some of them are getting their first dose and some of them are getting their boosters. So right now we're just gathering up all the ewe lambs from the other side of the barn and bringing them over to the chutes. In this group we have the January born Suffolk ewe lambs and the Dorset ewe lambs are in here as well. If you've been watching our videos regularly, you'll see that these girls are actually moving pretty smoothly this time round. Already they're getting used to the routine of being handled and moved from pen to pen, which makes running them through the chutes a lot easier for us. So the first thing we do is get some rehydration because it was quite hot and humid again today. And basically we're just getting all the vaccines and needles sorted out. A few sheep had some diarrhea, so we brought some dewormer with us as well. So it's just getting everything set up right now. And Arnie just loaded the first group into the chute. As you can see at the end of the chute, there's a ewe with her head sticking out. For the lambs, we use the head gates. We find that it's a lot easier to give them their vaccine that way. The vaccines have to be given subcutaneously, which means under the skin. And especially with the Dorsets, they tend to be quite jumpy and squirrely, as you've seen even with shearing and stuff. So the head gate just gives you a bit more control over the lamb, helps you get it done quicker, so there's less stress on you and less stress on the lambs themselves, because the more they struggle, the more stressed out they get. And even with the head gate, sometimes I have to go there and kind of just hold their head so that they just stop that fidgeting. As you watch us doing this today, you'll notice that in general, you'll see the Dorsets struggling way more than the Suffolks. Just two different breeds, they behave differently. And again, as you can see, they always tend to flock together in their little groups. So you'll have a batch of Dorsets go and a batch of Suffolks. We're not separating them at all. They just naturally cluster together in their breed groups. It's kind of interesting. Even though we did get a new syringe for administering the vaccines and stuff, we still like it the old-fashioned way. Believe it or not, it's a lot quicker this way, but it does require two of us. I fill up the syringes, hand it to Arnie, he does it, and right now though, this is one ewe lamb that had diarrhea. She's the only ewe lamb in the whole group, so I just gave her a dose of Ivomec as well, and Arnie just grabbed the clippers and he's also going to dag her. It's not something that we have ever done, but since we have the battery operated clippers now, we figured that we should do what they do in the UK and get that dirty bum cleaned off and see how it works for us. And obviously we're not dagging her face. Arnie just thought he would try to give her a little trim as well. because you know once he gets started on something, he wants to do all kinds of stuff. But you can see the ewe lambs are getting a lot calmer with the whole process of us working with them. As they're sitting there waiting for their turn, you can see they're very curious about what we're doing. They're watching, listening, and yeah, if they were afraid, they'd be gathered up and you wouldn't see them at all, but they're much calmer these days. And there she goes with her nicely clean bum and her deworming. And all the other lambs are watching her, hoping that they don't have to go through that indignity. So these shots are for clostridial diseases that sheep get. It's a yearly vaccine. After the first vaccine, they get a booster a month later. We're right on time for that for a change. And then after that, you give it once a year. We usually give it right before they lamb. So it's usually about a month to 6 weeks before lambing, and we do it every year at that point. We use Glenvax 6. That's the vaccines we use in Canada. The Glenvax 6 covers also caseus, so that way we don't have to double vaccinate them. Caseus is another disease that sheep can get. So this time around I also brought my reader because we were going a little bit slower today, and we wanted to see on some of our favorite sheep that we're going through, we wanted to see who the sires were, who seemed to be doing really well for us. And in this ewe lamb group, we were actually surprised that by far the majority were twins. And in the Suffolk group, I think we only had 3 single ewe lambs in the whole group. And as far as Gladiator went, by far he was producing mostly twins there, and also our top picks for ewe lambs. So Gladiator really outdid himself this year. Like all the ones we stopped and looked at and said, we like this one, we like this one, it was Gladiator twin, Gladiator twin, Gladiator twin. So that was really nice. We had a few more triplets than I recall having, which was good too. So yeah, our numbers, we never talked about the numbers, but I think at the end of the day, both the Dorsets and the Suffolks were just over 1.8 lambs per ewe, which yeah, we were really happy with that because we did have a lot of first timers this year, and we also do go a little out of season without the use of any seeders. So yeah, extremely happy with the numbers with them this year and the quality of them. Yeah, just a lucky year for the lambs. That noise you can hear is the rain just beating down on the roof of the coverall. And anyway, we've finished vaccinating the ewe lambs, Arnie's taking them back to the other side of the barn.
Okay, that was the girls all vaccinated. I started reading them, and all but 3 suffix were twins. There are several triplets and 3 singles. Pretty good.
So, here come the boys now. The handsome lads. We're going to do the same thing with them. We've got, these are the January and February ram lambs that we held back. The ones with the purple dots on their back, they're the boys from the February group. Purple dots mean this is their first vaccine. The others have already had a vaccine, and this is their booster, so this will be the last one they're getting. That's little Mister watching the whole process. He was very curious about it all. And again, I'm scanning each of these rams because all the purple dot ones, we just chose them based on their conformation and growth. We didn't read them to see who they're from, so I'm just doing that now to see who they were sired by and to see if they're single, twin, triplet, or whatever. So again, with the rams in that second group, we had a lot of twins, more than the first group, probably because the first group was more out of season and the second group was going into season, so that would account for more twins. We had 2 groups of triplets in there, and I think in that group the majority of them turned out to be from Hannibal, so that bodes good for our rams because our 2 favorite batches were coming from Gladiator and Hannibal this year. So in the ram group, we had 2 rams with diarrhea. So those 2 rams we left to the very end. And right now what Arnie's done is he's turned the sheep around kind of like backwards back into the chute. So his head is locked there. So he can trim him off at the back. And I go back there with the scissors. This guy actually had quite a dirty bum, so Arnie couldn't get the clippers through it. So I used scissors to finish him off. And then, yeah, again, while he had the clippers, he decided to shear these guys totally off as well, just to get more practice with the shearing. And both of these 2 guys also were dewormed with Ivermectin. So we dewormed 3 sheep out of all the lambs this year that have been out on pasture so far, because only 3 were symptomatic for worms, and we find that seemed to be working really well. We weren't over drenching the sheep, and it was keeping the worms under control. And it was costing less money because we weren't having to do the whole flock. So that also will help prevent worm resistance to the dewormers by not treating sheep that don't need to be treated. So right now you can see he's working on with the clippers. And we're obviously he's a novice and learning this, but I think he's actually really enjoying it. However, me with the scissors, that's a mucky job. Nobody wants that job. Just, you have to be so careful not to pinch their skin, and it's dirty. But they will have felt way better once this was all cleaned off.
And then when we're all done, we'll clean the drinker. Okay?
And you don't think maybe you could do them in here? Also, if you've been watching our videos, you will have seen one of the ram lambs that actually was stuck in the head gate like that once when we came into the barn. Like somehow he had gotten his head in there by himself. And so that kind of gave us the idea for this. It works really, really well. Like that head gate just stops them from getting out. And once they realize they can't get out, they quiet right down. And it actually worked really well for the shearing like this, because obviously that, like, we're not professionals, and flipping them over and flipping them is something that Arnie's not comfortable with yet. Now you'll see he is gonna let this guy loose, because you obviously can't do their head when it's in the headlock, but this one he actually did try to flip it over and do the belly. Like we're still really nervous about cutting them, and if they struggle or kick, then you're more likely to cut them. But they actually look pretty good. So that's it for all the vaccinations in this barn. We're going to continue again tomorrow with the ewe lambs in the other barn.
Today's June 6th. And yesterday, June 5th, we finished planting the beans. It's the latest I've ever planted beans. Hopefully that turns out okay. The beans went in, had a fantastic rain 2 hours ago. So we got a real good drenching on the rain, on our beans. And it looks like we got 1.25 inches of rain. Just an extremely good rain on those beans. I'm very happy with that. And Lynn asked me last night about this mower, what it's called. So this is called a disc bine. And this is a disc bine. And I forget what the hitch in this is called. I think it's called a hydrostatic disc bine. So what the hydrostatic means is, and what's nice about this mower is, so it's got this real long hitch on it. And what is nice about this mower is you see that cylinder right there? Right there. Well, that cylinder, so this mower here, I can actually mow on one side of the field and mow the whole field on the same side, going across the whole field. So I don't have to drive around and around the field like the mowers that have the hitch on the one side and the hitch doesn't move. So every time I come to the end of the field, I'm going to hit a hydraulic arm lever in the cab, and that cylinder will expand. And it'll swing this mower right over to the right and right over to the left. I think it's called a hydrostatic drive disc bine, 13-foot cut. And Lynn asked me what it was. Lynn said I didn't explain that correctly yesterday, but that's what it is. I love the swinging back and forth because I never have to do any headlands. I don't have to do any unnecessary driving in the field. I go to the end of the field, turn around, and go back in the same direction. But when I'm cutting hay in a couple of days, I'll show you how good that works. It works extremely good.
Well, that's it for another day at Ewetopia Farms. Everybody got vaccinated that needed to be vaccinated, so we're looking good that way. And speaking of thumbs up, be sure to give us a thumbs up and a like and to subscribe and to join us again tomorrow for the next episode at Ewetopia Farms. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.